Pod Show. Thank you so much for coming in. You know, we always appreciate you. Today, I have an upcoming star. I'm speaking into existence. Kevo.
Yeah.
Kevo, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, this young man has so much going on, and I really want you to be able to spend some time with him and talk about the different things he's going to do. There's even a day in Houston that the mayor of Houston named after him. And he has an amazing story, and I'm hoping that we're going to dive into it. He has an upcoming play coming out. Tell us about what you're doing.
Well, the play is titled What Do We Do Now? It's an African American fiction that takes modern day issues and it stemmed them back all the way to the 1940s. So it's about this family who's using and kind of dealing with issues that African Americans dealt with for decades, but they deal with them in 1 year. And that particular year is 1965. So the play is based in 1965, but they still deal with stuff today.
Wow. So to develop this play, how long did it take you to develop it?
Well, it happened kind of fast because I wrote it. I feel like I wrote it very fast, but people were calling me because they know I'm into culture and art and history when Kanye West and Kyrie Irving had their issues with Jews. And people started calling me, and I thought that me being an artist, I'm always looking for a way to create content. So I thought, I can't make a painting about this. Like, you know, I was like, how can I educate our people about something, but still kind of entertain them? And I was like, oh, I can write a play. And I started writing a play based on that, because solely with the idea that, you know, there's a lot of my peers who don't really understand what we've been through in the last 100 years, you know? So, yeah, that's how it started, and it immediately got momentum because usually when I put a book or anything out, it doesn't really get a review out, but I don't really care because I'm like, you know, it's art. It's like, sometimes it takes time. But I literally got a review every day on Amazon, like a week straight. So I was like, I would check my email and I was like, okay, this must actually be good. So I got with some actors to read it, and one of them started crying. And I was like, oh, I need to do this. So it literally, I started calling theaters, hey, what date do you have? And they said they have Easter Monday. Match Theater has Easter Monday. So, because that Easter is a national holiday on Sunday and Monday now.
Right.
So they said, we can give you Easter. I said, I'll take it.
So not only did you have to put this play together, what about pulling cast and what was all?
Well, so I wrote it in maybe November. And it's March. So this
that is
fast.
fresh.
Yeah. So I posted a casting call for February the 5th at the Deluxe Theater, which this kind of comes full circle, but I posted the casting call on social media, you know, saying, hey, I want to have a casting call because I want to do this play. I'd had that table read. At that read, a few of those people were actors, so I know I can have y'all in there. And I called my friend who lives in California, Dominique Draper. I feel like he's the best filmmaker that I know, and I asked him to help me produce it virtually, you know, because I have experience as an actor and a writer, but not as a producer.
Okay.
So he helped me out. I did the casting call. My daughter actually auditioned as well to play one of the kids in the script.
Wow.
And yeah, I have a 9-year-old, and auditions went smooth. Literally found some of the best talent I could find in Houston. When they posted it, they had so many people saying, oh, I can't wait to see you act again. So I was like, okay, this is good. Rehearsals have been good. We've laughed. We've been dramatic. We've been emotional. So everything's just falling into place.
Man, okay. I mean, all right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Okay, so we are not immune to having had a past. And
Yeah.
so you mentioned a little bit about your past and how you've overcome, and can you tell me, are you comfortable sharing
Yeah,
a little bit
I'm
about
comfortable
that?
with that. I really think that's the important aspect of why I ended up getting a day from the mayor. Because, like, when you saw where I posted, the mayor gave me my own day in Houston. I feel like I represent a group of people or the youth who become hopeless. When you look at my past, I wasn't an orphan, but I wasn't raised by my parents. I grew up, I went to jail, I was in and out of jail at a young age, I was in the streets, I ended up being shot, I used to be in shootouts all the time. You don't look at that life up to 19, 20 years old and say, this person is gonna have a master's degree, this person is gonna write books, this person is gonna own a business, this person is gonna teach in college, and this person is gonna produce plays, So with that turnaround of my mentality and me wanting, literally, genuinely wanting to change and wanting to help other people, I believe that's why I got my own day. But yeah, my past is definitely a testimony to where I am right now.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So I'm an educator by trade.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my own past and everything, and never. So what was it like going through school? And it's important because for years I've worked with students and working with the roughest and the toughest. So how was it for you in school?
So as a youth, right, I was bad, but I was smart. I was blessed with intelligent. I was blessed with intelligent genes, so I was always smart. But that made me bored. So it was easy for me to get into the streets because I didn't have anybody to tell me not to. My aunt did try, but it's only so much she can do to somebody, like me. As I got older, I've always been intuitive and always been the type of person to want to know more. When I was in the streets, I would get a lot of tattoos. When I would go get the tattoos, people would ask me, especially the artists, they would say, man, can you design it for me? Because you could just draw so naturally. Like your God-given gift is just so amazing. They used to always tell me that. So that turned into me saying, all right, this may be an out for me out of the streets. Like in terms of artwork, right? So this is high school days, I'm getting tattoos and people are hinting at me that, you might be a good artist. Now, what happens is I want to get into college, because when you say student, I don't really think about the youth too much. I want to get into college. What happens is after I started tattooing, I realized the opportunity for growth. This growth is not going to come if I don't learn as much as I can about art. So I went on a hiatus, an antisocial couple of years to just read a lot of books and learn as much as I can about art. I wasn't in school, so fast forward a couple of years, I was like, you know what, I don't know how to paint. I know all this stuff about art. I can tell you about the Medici family, I can tell you about Caravaggio, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Picasso. I can tell you about all these artists and Frida Kahlo, and I can't paint, So I went to a school downtown in Houston. It's called the Glassell School of Art. And other art classes, they say you have to take all these classes first. So I did the classes, and one of them had a writing prompt. And I overwrote. So basically, I just assumed they didn't put how many pages to write. I wrote almost 11 pages. And I remember the dean said, you need to go to school. You don't need to be at this little art, taking these fun classes. You need to go to school. And that put me in college. Him saying you need to be in school put me in college. So to answer your question, how was school for me? It was easy. It was a breeze. There was not nearly as much reading as I did on my own. It was not as much pressure that other people felt, or they shared with me. Like I remember somebody telling me, "Man, I got to take this." It was another artist. He said, "Man, we got to take this art history class, man." And I don't know. They say you got to write a lot, you got to read a lot. And
sorry, I'm making sure he's timing.
And he's like, you got to write a lot, you got to read a lot. And he said, I said, bro, we're artists. We already know this stuff. And he was like, nah, you know this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, but you can go. That's pretty much it about that.
No, I didn't want to stop.
It's okay.
I just wanted to make sure that we
on point.
Yes. And, okay, so you mentioned about having your own day, but Can you give us just a little bit more detail about how did you meet the mayor? I mean, how did that?
Well, our actual meeting hasn't. We scheduled it, but so I had to go to the city hall to receive the proclamation. But that came because of in the community in Houston, I was known as a drug dealer, right? So when everybody already knew me from selling drugs and being shot, I was kind of cool. You know what I mean? That's cool to our, especially in our culture. This is why I didn't like when there's a basketball player right now, John Morant. They're like, oh man, he ain't a real thug. It's not really about being a thug. Our culture is very desirable, the street culture. So I was very popular already. What happened was when I decided to change my life, it had a bigger impact than my negativity because people already respected me. So throughout then and now, I've done so many speaking engagements. I've done so many giveaways. I don't like to take pictures of stuff I do, but I've done so many turkey drives. I've done so many free food drives. Hurricane came. I'm out posting on social media. You know, I have always drive trucks. So where y'all at? I'm coming to get y'all. I've just done so much that people said, hey, you should get your own day. And then I'm like, okay. And then it just kind of, I forgot about it. And then it happened randomly. I talked about this last year. And then it was like, City Hall called me and was like, okay, we got you. Yeah, we actually finished it. Yeah. Like, oh man, that's crazy. It was kind of crazy though.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's way cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us the dates of the event.
Well, right
you
now,
said Easter Monday.
Yeah,
Easter
it's
Monday.
April 10th, but that's just the first adaptation. This
Okay.
play has never been done before. Nobody's ever seen it. So if you want to see it for its first time, that's April 10th, 7 p.m. It's a holiday for about half of Houston. Most people have Easter on Sunday, but a lot of places are actually closed that Monday. I know A-Leaf is, and I think Science Fair is, but I know HISD is not. So that's just the first time this play is going to be seen. It's also in a festival in September, but the dates are TBD. They're not like announced yet because they're going to do 3 showings of the play versus just going 1 that I have right now.
So what are you hoping that we receive, like the average person that goes to see the play, what are you hoping that we receive?
I mean, I'm an artist, so that question is loaded for me because I view art as so subjective that I would just want to know what people thought because it's art. For me, it's art. It's not a message. It's not trivial. I would want to know their opinion, and that's about it. I wouldn't.
But you kind of went when you said that you went back to like the 40s, 60s, yes. And so I feel like that there's some kind of message.
Yeah. Okay. Well, objectively, in that sense, then I think it will be clear when they watch it that they will get an idea about the humanity and the survival and how African Americans, what we've actually been through and how we've overcome it in so many ways, and how we've dealt with, how we dealt with them, and how we could have dealt with them better. But that's still my opinion. At the same time, that's why I said it's art. So that is how it started. It started with I want to make something educational, but then it's still art. So it's still the way that this particular family answered that question in the play, that may be right for 8 people out of 10, but 2 people may disagree with that, you know?
Okay. So, and this is just my personal opinion, but I feel like that there has been a lot of change since, the 60s and everything that everybody went through and fought to get us where we are. I actually was on some social media the other day, and I was very surprised. It wasn't like Facebook or anything. It was alternative social media. Hadn't been on it in months and months, but I just kind of wanted to check in. They say that you're supposed to spread social media through 10 different channels every day.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that, but I wanted to check in on this social media. And what I saw, there was like some white supremacists just posting and everything, and I was like, I really can't believe that they're just letting this. They weren't saying anything.
Where's that? It's their freedom, though.
And in matter of fact, it had been whirling in my mind all day long, and I was like, well, if we shut them up, then they're going to shut us up because the moral of the story is right now our freedom of speech is under attack. And so our freedom of thought is under attack.
I agree.
And so if we say, okay, white supremacists can't, march around, then who's to say next that Christians, you can't march around?
You need that. It's
as ugly as it is.
It's the yin and yang to life. If that doesn't happen, if you could think of the most influential person of your life or the most influential person in history, whether it be black, Mexican, white, they don't happen if there's not an opposite. If it wasn't for the bad, you can't even get good out of it, So you need that. It's all good. My play does have a lot of subtext. For example, I'll share this idea of providing as a race. There was a time, I think his name is Monroe Trotter. It's a guy, it's an African American historian. And the thing is, he was very serious about how could black people provide to society. And when I read a lot of his stuff, I realized that later on, like around this time, we've lost a lot of that. We've become happy with being rich or middle class, but we're not really a provider of society. And that's one of the things I really attacked in my play, not in a racial manner, but in a very subtextual way. So very subtly that there was a systematic approach to make us, instead of providers, make us consumers, make us dependent and stuff like that, So things have changed, but have they? Is this a victim? Is this the product of what happened? A product of a system?
In middle class is middle class, and so but without the middle class you have the haves and the definitely have-nots, and so without the middle class, that's what keeps the checks and balances in there. So we do have to have that middle class in there, because if not, you have the people with all the money and all the power, and then everybody they're stepping on. And so I do think, we don't hear a lot about the wealthy, black people that were in the 40s, 50s, 60s. We don't hear a lot. The more stories people are writing and putting it out and everything, but we don't hear a lot of those stories. But outside of those few, and there may have been more than a few, but outside of that, it was here and it was there.
Yeah, definitely.
And so in that aspect, to where opportunity has opened up, granted, we had to pry it open for it to open up, but the opportunity is still there.
It's there. I really want to highlight that. In terms of wealth, how would we really define it? Because you can be rich or middle class, and you can leave something to your kids, or you can live the life you want. You can travel, do what you want. But as a people, it becomes very racial when you start talking about wealth, because the wealth provides to the society. The middle class provides jobs most of the time, but the actual wealthy people, the actual 1% provide everything. And within that 1%, there's not a lot of us. That's what I mean. So you go to the grocery store, there's not an African American food section. You get what I'm saying? You don't go buy your toothpaste and there's not we don't have a dental sector. You can go buy kosher food. You can go do a lot of things that the other nationalities have taken over. But there has been, in our culture, a lot of what are they called, scholars who have written about a systematic approach to take that away from us. And in so many ways, like I said, it's very subtextual. I did kind of hint at it.
I knew you did something in there. I knew there was a little message in there. It is art. It is art in how how you see it and view it and try to portray it.
Yeah.
But and just what I'm finding out, and doing these interviews, that with every message or every person that I interview, there's something in here that's underlined a tiny bit, at least a little bit. I mean, some things are just for fun, but even the things.
I think it's the way you asked me the question that made me answer it that way.
Okay.
But definitely, nobody else could have wrote this for me.
No.
Nobody else could have wrote it. Nothing. This right here, it was all in there. My heart was deep into writing this.
Yeah, and I just, the way you put it together, and it's out there. So after, I know we're focused on this project right here, but what's next?
Well, I feel like that I'm adapting into my newer self. I see you call me a star, but I honestly feel like I'm growing into letting people, accepting this adaptation of myself that people are giving me, because I find myself so subdued in art that I don't really have a social life, and I don't realize how I'm influencing people sometimes until after I'm done. So I'm writing a few movies and shows and stuff right now, but in my head, since I've been on the production side of it, I'm thinking about, how much money it takes, what I have to do, and all of these things, and people are looking at it like, what's next? I'm like, I don't know, but whatever is next is going to be good. I'm just going to continue to do me. I'm going to continue my speaking engagements. I'm going to continue to make art, continue to write. I'm attending a lot of festivals, and that's what's going on. But this play will be seen again later on in the year. I do have an intention to tour the play.
Okay.
That is a solid intention.
All right. And I hope that, people get behind this and support him, and if you have resources that that he may need, reach out to him. All his information will be in the description. If you're watching this on social media, if you're watching this on TV, how do we get in touch with you?
Artbykevo.com. My name is spelled Kevo. My Instagram is Kevo Arts. That's pretty much it. The play will be at Match. I believe it's 3400 Main Street, and it's matchhouston.org with one H though. So Match Houston, but one H.org for the play tickets.
Hey, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Go and make it great. Don't make it great.
For sure.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.